Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for watching our recording here of using insights communities to build better experiences, better marketing, better products. I'm Kevin Lonnie, the CEO founder of KL Communications. I'm going to be joined today by Jamie Mioni, and we're going to give you our presentation about how to maximize your insights communities. So first of all, just a little background about KL Communications itself. I started it way back in 1996, back in the days of You've Got Mail, for those of you who remember AOL, or perhaps the rom-com with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, or even the sounds of a modem, which is something my children have absolutely no idea. But we have been building online communities for quite a while. And over that time, I have made an incredible number of mistakes, which I have learned from and benefited from. And we'll use that to parlay that with some hopefully insights to you on how to maximize the value of your insight community. So first of all, our emphasis today is going to be more about the applications and not as much about the tools. No offense to most presentations, it's like, aren't our tools so cool? And my feeling is yes, and so similar. And so what we want to talk about more is not as much in terms of making you an IT pro, but more of a research pro. So kicking in, and let's talk a little bit about insights communities. So this is Insights 101. Why would you want an insight community? Well, the number one reason is for the cost and timing efficiencies. It's a 24/7 infrastructure of your clients, of your, I should say, customers, maybe your employees, or even prospects, and incredibly time and cost efficient. That being said, you do need a value proposition for bringing enough research into your community. You need really, I think, minimal monthly exercises because there are fixed costs in starting a community. Those are quickly amortized over the savings and variable cost over comparable ad hoc research. And so that gets to be about almost sort of the split in terms of cost. It's just at least having monthly activities. And if you have activities twice a month or even every week, well, then you're really going to reap the benefits. Another thing is in our today, I talked about modem speed. Well, now we're in broadband speed, of course. Communities need to be fast and iterative. Back in the day when I started, we used to talk about proving or disproving the null hypothesis, which kind of went out with the slide wall. Nowadays, it's a matter of getting insights and moving them fast so that they're impactful. And this idea of agile and iterative is perfect for an insights community. And then the flexible, at KL Communications, we don't offer a true DIY, but we do offer the best value for your community. So I would look to do that with anyone that you are considering for your provider. Jamie will talk to you more about the process. It's not too different from traditional research: build, design, plan, design, build, and learn.
Exactly.
And talk a little bit about what it is that you're going to get with the insight community from KLC. So Jamie's going to talk. Finally, Jamie, I'm going to give you a word to get in edgewise. You're going to talk about all the traditional stuff, the stuff that most people care about, and then I'll talk a little bit about crowdweaving. So with no further ado, Jamie Mioni, the COO of KL Communications.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And one of the things you touched on, I think, was really important was how agile it is. So once we build it, and just to reiterate, KLC's been doing this a long time. There's such a streamlined process that requires very little effort on your part. So the beauty of it is we can get up and running very quickly to start from the consultative approach of building it, figuring out who you want to talk to, designing it, launching it, and being ready to talk to your customers or consumers as quickly as just a few weeks. So that's how agile it is. And then an ongoing community like this, which is what we really focus on, is this ongoing access to your customers, your prospects, whoever it is that's important to you that you better understand. these tools that we have, as he had mentioned, as Kevin had mentioned, there's now an expectation that if you have a community, you have access to specific things like a robust survey tool, which we have, a fantastic one, the forums, the discussions. But it's not just the tools themselves that you should expect, it's also the thinking behind those tools. So where a typical discussion or forum or some of the different tools that we have access to or you have access to are key and important, know that those bases are covered. We have all the tools. We have API connections where we can plug in tools that you already fallen in love with that you don't want to do without. But the most important thing is having access to the thinking and the consultation and making sure that your team, whether it be at KLC or another partner that you've selected, really is thinking through both strategically and tactically what you need to learn so that we can design or they can design the best research for you. So as we'll talk through some of these different approaches, just know that we have the bases covered. We have all those tools from robust surveys to journaling, discussions, online chats, live moderated focus groups, pretty much anything that you need or would expect or don't even expect. For instance, crowd weaving. I'm going to have Kevin just talk about this. He's the one that innovated this, and we've been doing this a number of years, and it is a proprietary tool. It's called crowd weaving. I'm going to throw it over to you, Kevin, so you can talk more about it.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. With crowd weaving, as she has already indicated, that is our proprietary tool that allows members to actually participate in business challenges. A few years ago at KLC, we've always been trying to empower members so that they are not merely respondents, but actually participants. So this was nothing really existed out there as far as we were concerned. So we created this tool that allowed our participants to ideate, to actually try to solve a business challenge, and then to collaborate with their peers. All the time sharing this with our clients so that they can see the way that their customers are trying to solve this problem, and it's inspired in terms of how they could approach it themselves and get to a better starting point. So that's a little bit what crowd weaving is about. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later on. But getting back to the meat and potatoes of what KL Communications can offer and our standard tools, I'm going to give it back to Jamie again and talk through a few more of those.
Thank you, Kevin. Exactly. And we're not intending to go through a full demo here, so we thought it would be much more efficient to just show you some screenshots. But of course, we can always schedule a demo of the platform itself and the technology. But this is just to give you a feel and a flavor for what the member would experience. In addition to, we also have can give you a feel for what's kind of behind the curtain, behind the scenes, where your users, based upon your access and permissions, where you can go in there as well and view what the administrator can view. But from a member view, what you see is on the left side, the dashboard, the home page, and you see these kind of dashboard activity tickets or modules. So you see those, and they're just meant to capture. We use a lot of imagery, a lot of different captivating photos to make sure that people's eyes are drawn to the various things they can do. There's other navigation that you can go right to the things to do, and then everything that's accessible to them is there. We like to keep a lot of different activities going and primarily just mix it up to make sure that it's an interesting experience for them, that it's not just survey after survey, because it's not a panel. So if we can go to the next slide, Kevin, it just gives you another feel.
Sure.
We're just kind of showing you behind the scenes what a member might experience. In the middle, you see that screen capture of a survey where we're using heat mapping. So again, all the tools that you would anticipate, maybe a few that you don't, like on the left side in that left portion of the screen, you see a screen capture of a crowd weaving module. And again, that's really intended to kind of take divergent thinking into convergence and really ideate based upon a business challenge, what you are looking to do and where you want your either target audience or your customers to ideate against and really help you in thinking. And not only do great product ideas come out of it, but most importantly, and Kevin's going to give you some examples of this in a bit, most importantly, you really start seeing some key themes that emerge in an innovation experience and co-collaboration type of experience like this. We have an insights dashboard. And again, we'll take you into a demo in a separate environment and a separate time, but just wanted to give you a feel for what the member experience looks like. And one more thing, and I know we'll touch on this at some point, but I don't want to lose this thought. One of the advantages that I saw with KLC, because I have worked with other partners, actually worked for one of the key partners that was also a key founding community provider many years ago. One of the things that I saw that KLC provides that a lot of community providers did not is this member experience that you're seeing can actually be kind of separated and partitioned out, so that if you have the need from a business perspective, but maybe a limited budget or just efficiency and scale, where you want to talk to two different audiences or a couple, 2, 3 different audiences, but don't want separate, unique communities built for those, which can get costly. You can take one community and we can, through our approach where we kind of separate out, partition out the user experience, it can look like the same community, but they don't see each other. So we have clients that are using this for both a community of employees or business decision makers, and also either customers or prospects. There's just, or it could be different segments. It could be people or user groups that you don't want interacting or talking to each other. And they come in and they don't see each other. It feels like a completely separate community, but it's all within the same environment, in the same engagement in terms of a contract. So it's very efficient and affordable.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to pick up from where Jamie left off there and just talk a little bit about where our communities play. Obviously, they play in the insights space, but they also play in the innovation space as well, too. And so we've taken a little bit of learnings from the world of design thinking, which really begins with the idea of customer empathy and the jobs to be done. Like if I'm buying a hammer, it's not because I want a great hammer. It's because of the job that I need the hammer to do. Maybe put a picture on the wall, whatever that may be. So, and then in design thinking, you take that unmet need and then you quickly, through agile methods, develop a prototype, get consumer feedback, and then, keep iterating till you get the best possible product. That's a little bit like crowd weaving, except the one difference is that we actually make it a more proactive experience for the participant. We actually give them a chance to talk about their unmet needs and what it is that they want. And again, it's an opportunity to act as a inspiration or a muse for the actual product developer, be that R&D, engineering, or brand manager. So you're really allowing participants, as I said before, feel that they've got some skin in the game in terms of helping the clients that are important to them develop better products. So, and we're about to talk about a few case study examples. As I mentioned, our emphasis today is more about what can an insights community do for me? It's more about the application. We're not looking to have you become like a IT platform developer in your own right. It's basically just parlaying this insight community and using it to drive better experiences, better marketing, better development, innovation. And so we thought the best way to do that is to just share with you a few case study examples. So I'm going to turn it over to Jamie now. She's going to give you a case study example for a Fortune 200 insurance provider.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And as you've seen in everybody's experience, most likely, just the focus around building better customer experiences is so critical. The last couple of years being a case in point in how evolving and staying true to and current on the evolving needs and desires of your customers, how important those are, from omni-channel experiences during the pandemic to what they expect, what their customer pain points are, and how quickly you can resolve those. So it's really important, I think a very good use of communities to have that kind of ongoing access to your customers, your target audience, even your employees, to really assess what their needs and wants are over time. We can do just a small sampling of the type of studies that we do. And then of course, we'll talk about the case study that Kevin mentioned. We can do everything from journey mapping to better understanding where people are tracking, what their expectations are, flushing out pain points, and going back to additionally even pull back in with crowd weaving and understand how those pain points need to be resolved in your customer experience. So back to the mini case study, we have a Fortune 200 insurance provider that's been a client for years, fantastic company, fantastic to work with, but in addition, they're focusing on evolving with their customer experience, both from their providers and their agents, also to a direct-to-consumer approach, making sure that their customer service portal experience is optimized, because we all know how lovely it can be to work with insurance and insurance claims. So they were really focused, and they continue to be focused on that experience. And in this case, what we had was a situation where they were optimizing the customer service portal. They wanted to make sure it was truly an improvement, and that they launched with the right service experience. And where we netted out was we used an iterative approach with this, multi-steps, where we started with open exploration, discussion, into some ideation and refinement of the portal itself and the design of it and the features, into some in-depth exploratory, in-depth interviews where we further refined and saw some areas of opportunity to optimize. And then when it launched, we did a survey, kind of like a beta test, what the experience was and what the delivery was. And as an outcome, what we saw was a dramatic improvement on ease of managing coverage and claims, as well as just processing the claim. And what you see is a very strong impact in an enhanced view of the company itself and the experience. Again, going back to how critical experiences are. Mm-hmm. So moving on to the next example, building better marketing. This is a very strong case when you think about it, not just for the case study itself, but just a use case for ongoing access via communities, where typically in a traditional research budget, you don't necessarily have either the time or the budget for ad hoc research, for message refinement, testing, and then in addition to that, campaign testing, things like that, that typically just end up launched that you don't have the time or the additional budget, incremental budget for, that you can do and do very quickly and refine and optimize in a community. Additionally, there's things that you can do to really leverage your community, like packaging design, testing that you may not have the time or opportunity to do. Again, brand stretch, positioning, you name it. There's so much that can be done from a marketing and communications, as well as just the delivery of at various touch points, packaging design, things like that you can leverage community for. And in our case study, we've got a leading health supplement company, one of our newer clients, and they've never had a community before. They had a plethora of research that was bottled up that they were ready to do. One of the first things that we did with them was they wanted to redesign the packaging, both of the actual product, the labels of the bottles, as well as the exterior packaging, which was really important because this supplement company has a wide range of more, not clinical, but definitely not what your typical drugstore brand would provide. They're a very strong company. They've been in business for many years, and they have really gotten focused on making sure they're meeting not just their consumer and end users' needs, but also their healthcare practitioners that they sell through. So in this case, they were looking to test some new label designs, and we tested 7 of those with a large-scale survey with heat mapping, both amongst their healthcare practitioners that were a key the wholesale channel that they work through, as well as a channel that is more direct to consumer. So in this case, what we found was through that large-scale survey, where we actually benchmarked against the current labeling design, not only did we end up with 2 very strong, viable opportunities with the labels, and which they ended up going with, but also figured out some or delivered some additional insight around the difference based upon the environment and the competitive nature of the environment. So there were some things that they were able to apply that we're going to be careful, we don't want to overshare, but things that they were able to apply toward future, not only packaging development, but also merchandising. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Kevin, for the next one.
Sure. Thanks, Jamie. So for this one, this is actually based on what we call a pulse community. I'll talk a little bit about that later. This was a short-term community built around a specific business objective. And so I'll talk about the experience, and then hopefully the examples on the left, you'll be able to kind of visualize those yourselves as I kind of walk it through. So in this case, it was for a major telecommunications provider, actually Spectrum Communications, which is a cable internet provider here in the Northeast. And it was a new Watch Everywhere app. Now, this project was actually done a few years ago, which is one of the reasons I'm able to talk about in such detail. Spectrum Communications is based in Manhattan, but their actual R&D department and engineers are based in Denver, Colorado. They had 6 weeks to go to market with this new iPhone, iPad app that was going to replace the remote. They arranged for 40 iOS beta testers in North Carolina. And the challenge was for the engineers to work right alongside these consumers, because left to their own devices, the engineers would develop something that only other engineers would be able to fathom. In New York, they referred to it as featureitis. So there's a little bit of a tension between the two groups there. So what we wound up doing is we took what the engineers' initial prototype was, and as it turned out, our respondents, participants in this challenge hated it, which didn't exactly endear them to the engineers immediately. But they went into explanation about what it was that they found not non-intuitive, and quickly gave feedback, and it became this ping pong match. And slowly but surely, the engineers began to enjoy the process, because they realized they didn't have to spend days working on code that people didn't like, but they could really put something out and get immediate feedback, and with great confidence continue to work down that path. So we were able to meet the deadline. As a matter of fact, the app itself hasn't really changed very much in the 5 years, which means how spot on it was at the beginning. And talking about the respondent experience, this is a course of a month. We had 90% participation. One of our participants was so jazzed, they actually they wrote a storyboard that the ad agency actually took and developed, and they ran that for years. It's like TV everywhere. And so that was just shows you, when you put people in a proactive situation, how they can really help you work together. So that one actually won some awards at CTAM, which is in the cable industry. So it's we're quite proud of that one. Well, that begs the question: how long does a community last? I mean, should it be ongoing, or should it be a pulse community? I'll share with you that most of our communities at KL are ongoing. About over half of them are more than 5 years old, and we have quite a few that have been going into their second decade now. But that's because we've really developed the value proposition, as I mentioned at the very beginning, cost and timing efficiencies, and we've been fortunate enough that they have found us to be a partner that they want to continue working with. If you don't have in current Insight community, a great way to take it out for a spin, if you will, is a pulse community, which would be built around a specific initiative. And then you can see if this is, you feel garners enough support internally that you want to make it ongoing. Quick example of a more recent pulse community we conducted was for PL Jet Propulsion Laboratory Division in California. NASA has actually, from the beginning of its inception, has always been a very monolith leader-based approach. The leader will come up with like a hypothesis and then build a team around to try and solve it. In this case, they wanted to explore the idea of more of a co-creation process of scientists, technology, and engineers. And there's quite a sort of a pecking order between the three groups. It's sort of like the Big Bang thing. And so each of them to ideate towards solving the problem. I learned that engineers love spreadsheets to solve any problem. Scientists are much esoteric, and technologists put it together. But we were able to get the groups to all coalesce around the solution. So even though we weren't sure what they were talking about half the time, They seem to feel that they understood each other. And so it's an approach again about using our system to help change the way that they have traditionally attacked problems. So with that, though, I want to just talk a little bit about the service levels, and who better to explain that than our own COO, Jamie. So Jamie,
Thank
if
you.
you could talk a little bit about service levels.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of the flexibility with the duration of the community, whether it should be ongoing or just a few weeks or just a few months, really goes back to kind of what we consider the experience that we offer and provide our clients, which is that flexibility and service level. So your experience should be based upon what your needs are. So instead of sticking you in a box and keeping you in that box of full service, which I think many providers did for many, many years, which made sense at the time, it doesn't make sense now. So we're very much about flexibility, working with your budget, working with your needs, and also working with the level of staffing and resources that you have. So if you find that you have an entire team, maybe you're a large organization where you have a large team, you have at the ready individuals that either enjoy or want to, or you would like to leverage internally to write activities and field them, fantastic. We will consult. We'll always offer a certain level of consultation and support regardless, because we are not like Kevin had mentioned, we are not a do-it-yourself software as a service platform. We don't pretend to be. We are all about providing a level of service that fits your needs. So with a full service model, of course, we're doing all the heavy lifting. We're there, we're using, we're accessing your experience and your research needs and what you know, so that we can take that, formulate a strategic roadmap for both strategic and tactical research plans, but also we're the ones that will go out, write the activities. Of course, you would approve all those and have a large part in that, but we would be doing the heavy lifting. We'd field it, analyze it, report on it based upon your needs, your style, etc. So that would be the full service model. Many of our clients have stayed with the full service model, but we've also kind of morphed into more of a flexible service model with many of our clients, especially our newer clients, where we work with you based upon what your needs are. It could be that it ebbs and it flows. Maybe you have a seasonality to your needs where you realize that, hey, we don't have time in certain months, or preempting certain activities or things that you need with insights delivery, where we do the majority of that work. Or you also find that, hey, we're just not really wanting to write surveys or activities. You use your expertise to do that. We will analyze and report. So it's really, really kind of an ongoing kind of process, learning how to work together, but it's based upon, most importantly, flexibility in what your needs are. And I think that leads right into our customer service and what I consider our point of difference, because I have been on the other end. I've worked with multiple community providers, worked for a couple of those, and I'm just really pleased. And I think if you really think about what KLC offers versus maybe other partners, what you'll see, and it's kind of interesting and it catches people's attention, I think, the first like a kickoff meeting where they dial in and they see lots of faces. It's like the Brady Bunch grids. And so you see this big KLC team, but it's a very efficient team. Everybody knows exactly how they interact. And what you're going to see when I say that KLC team, you're going to have an assigned group that works specifically on your business, not solely, obviously, but they work specifically for you, with you, are always at the ready and accessible. And that community manager is typically your prime liaison. They are the one that is really managing your account. You will know who that person is. You'll get to know that person really well. They'll get to know you, and you'll probably be speaking fairly often. You'll meet with that group once a week, and it's just an ongoing evolution of figuring out what your needs are. But typically you'll have a community manager. You'll also have 2 research managers, one focusing more on qualitative research, another on quantitative, and then you'll have an associate research manager. So again, a lot of this is behind the scenes, but you will know each person. They'll know you well. And I think that's the beauty of it. There's no offshore calls or accounts or customer service numbers or waiting in a queue. They are there for you. They typically respond within an hour or so, and definitely we would consider our support, flexibility, and client service a key differentiator.
Mm-hmm. So with that, let me kind of bring it all home here. If you're thinking about building a community, or if you're not curve, obviously we would love to talk to you. And essentially what we're trying to impart here too is really think of your internal brand. Make sure that you're maxing out brand can offer. I do recommend motion of what you've been to accomplish. A lot of our clients produce sell sheets that begin with just talking about cost advantages that the community has been able to provide over comparable ad hoc research. That never hurts to point out all the money you're saving, as well as the specific benefits, the impactful insights that your community has been able to provide. Jamie's talked about the service, which allows us, I think, to get great customer retention, because we really do try to partner with our clients, really understand their world, and be as turnkey as possible. So, with that, I thank you for your time on behalf of Jamie. I wish you all great success exploring the potential of insights communities. And if anything we've said here is of interest, certainly feel free to reach out, and we can see if we're a good match for you. And if not, we will certainly help direct you to whoever we think can best Jamie, I'm giving you the last word.
Oh, thank you so much, Kevin. Now, I just as some background for those of you that have a moment extra to stay. I just wanted to let you know that I joined the company about 4 months ago, and if it helps at all frame up why, having worked with a key, I would say competitive partner, it was also very, very evident to me what KLC offers in terms of just the ongoing ready access to a team. I think the client service level is really key, where I have seen in the past 4 months, our team come through for pretty much every client on a monthly basis in a pinch. So I would consider KLC and our entire team an extension of your insights department. And if you don't have one, we would be glad to be your insights department. I think there's a lot of value in having that ready access to both your customers and also amazing professionals that can really focus on your needs and delivering insights. So thank you for your time.
Exactly. And feel free to contact Dan Womack, who actually helped put this presentation together. He wasn't available at this particular time to help deliver it. Dan's our president. There's his contact information. Or feel free to reach out to myself or Jamie. And have yourself a most pleasant morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you again.
Thank you.